right, welcome everybody to your weekly ritual known as the Ultimate Hockey Show. 2 days late this week. Thanks for accommodating all your schedules. Uh, I know those of you who watch this show weekly made the comment that the show did not appear on Monday. That was because I had scheduling conflicts. But we are now good to go.
That's
and it
very
might have
true.
been. Sorry?
That's true. We should let people know it's very true that when the show changes, the scheduling conflict 99.99% of the time is due to the co-host on the left of your screen, not the right of your screen.
Fair enough. I take responsibility for that. In fairness, I have my charity event this weekend and finished right into Monday, and that's the way life goes sometimes. With the Jets coming off a more recent loss against the Boston Bruins, I hate to use the Palmericism here, but they kind of malaise their way through it.
They what?
Malaise their way through the game. Kind of meander, kind of, I don't know. They just didn't have it until it was too late. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Listen, again, the Jets, what are they in their last 22 games? They're 8 or before the loss to the Bruins, they were 18-2-2. So you can't complain. The only one that's been better over that same stretch is the Oilers, who haven't lost in 15 games or whatever it's been. They've run 14 or 15
games. They're going for 15 tonight.
Yeah, and we'll chat about them a little bit later. But I think it's just a little bit of, maybe it's malaise. It could be. It's having an off night. I think it's a huge part is your number one center and your number one right winger out of your lineup. What are you going to do? Like, I'm just saying, like, people say, Jets, they did, you take away Marchand and Pasternak from the Bruins and have the Jets, and then have them play the Jets with Velarde and Scheifele in the lineup. It's a completely different game. Okay. So that's number one. So I'm just saying, not that, that I'm comparing Pasternak to Velarde or like that there's equivalence. I'm just saying in terms of who they are and what they represent to their respective teams. When you remove 2 out of the 3 top players on your number one line, it has an effect over a long stretch of time. And that's no slight to Adam Lowry. I think he's great, but he's not a first line center. He's a third line center. So, and it's kind of changed the whole lineup. Guys are playing in all sorts of different positions. They're not generating as much offense, and guys are not playing the way they were with other guys before. So I think that's part of it. And you know what the other part is? And I know we've talked about this, and I'd like to get your take and maybe some of the listeners' take too. All my friends, all the guys that follow hockey like I are saying, Rick, what about the Jets? 18-2-2 in their last 22. It's amazing. Do you think it can continue? Do you think? And I don't want to say, should be careful. I don't want to say it's a mirage, because that's not true. The Jets deserve their record. They played well. They played in their system, but playoffs are different. And you could see it when you play against a team like the Bruins, because the Bruins play the same, or they try to, the same way all the time. The way that they do in the regular season is the way that they do in the playoffs, especially at home. They're smart defensively. They don't provide you much. They capitalize on a power play here and there. They get a lucky goal here that you make a mistake. Boom, it's in the back of the net, like it was with Hellebuck there when he made that one mistake playing the puck. So I'm just saying, it's playoff hockey. And I thought the Jets got pushed around a little bit, in my opinion. I don't know what other people think. I saw Pionk get knocked around a couple of times. I saw DeMello get knocked around a couple of times, because they're not big cats. They're on the smaller side. And now, does that mean they're bad players? No. But I'm just saying, when it's hard to score goals, and then you get the playoff and it's hard, you don't get as many opportunities. The ice shrinks. Your time is not allotted as much. One little turnover here and there, one little thing here and there, boom, boom, and it's a goal. And it could be just one large guy getting knocked or knocking a puck away from a smaller guy versus not being able to do that against the guy that's of equivalent size. And I just think the Jets are a little bit undersized relative to other teams, and they play not with the same toughness or grit across the whole lineup as other teams. I think that's another part of it too. And it's exposed when you play teams like the Bruins when they play their game and they play it well. That's my opinion. Now, somebody can tell me I'm completely off my rocker, but that's what I saw. And you could say, and you say, oh, it's malaise, and that could be. Maybe it's just it's road trip. Blah 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 blah. It'd be interesting to see what they look like tonight. Are Scheifele and Velarde in the lineup or no?
Negative.
Yeah, I figured. I'm like you. I figured they're going to wait because they got an extra run now. Another 3 days to Saturday. I don't even think they'll play on Saturday. And then after that, isn't that after that they have the All-Star break then?
Yeah, see, it's the player break, and then they're not back till that game in Pittsburgh. In
February 6th, I think, right? Yeah.
February 6th or something like that.
That's like another 2 weeks. So I could very easily see the Jets sitting out Velarde and Scheifele for the long term, right? Like, what's the point? Okay, they lose a couple to Toronto. It's not the end of the world. But anyway, that's kind of my take on the Jets right now is they're playing well. They play their system. Even against the Bruins, I thought they played well. They played their system, but they don't generate as much offense because their talented players are out of the lineup. They cannot score in the power play. That power play is it's like death warmed over. It's a corpse. I could go into a graveyard and dig up some guy from 100 years ago, and he could score in the power play relative to the 5 guys that they put out there. It's just all they do is pass it around. They just pass it around, and nobody wants to shoot. Nobody wants to stand in front of the net. Nobody wants to potentially get hit by a puck and block the goalie from seeing anything. Just pass it around, pass it around, pass it around. Nobody shoots. Blah. Blah. But anyway.
This is my take on it.
Okay.
I'm glad this is happening.
Why is that?
Because I think it gives the Jets an idea what they maybe need to pursue at the trade deadline. I think you have to work on the assumption in the playoffs, Rick, that two of your better guys will miss some time in the playoffs. It's possible.
Okay. What
do you get when you miss 2 of your top-end guys? Well, you kind of get what you saw. So I think that if anything, this reinforces the need for the Jets to get a second-line center and a defenseman that could kind of be that in that middle sort of 4 to 5 range, 4 to 6 range. I think the Jets pushing over the top for a player like Elias Lindholm makes a lot of sense.
Lindholm from where?
Sorry, Calgary.
From Calgary?
Yeah.
You think Elias Lindholm? I heard the name Sean Monahan being knocked around.
Yeah, well, even that would work, right? I think it just goes to show the Jets are a centerman short when it comes to what they need to do. No disrespect to Adam Lowry. He's not a number one center as we've seen. I am very happy that he's back in his regular spot tonight on the third line between Appleton and
I agree.
And then
so what are they doing with the lines then?
You can put Nemestikov up there, which I think should have been done earlier.
Is that what they're doing? Wait. Are they going to do Nemestikov between Connor and who was the other? And Iafallo?
Connor and Ehlers.
So that's the first line is going to be Nemestikov between Connor and Ehlers?
Yeah.
And then second line is going to be Perfetti, Iafallo, and who?
Hang on, I'll get that out for you. Hang on a second.
Okay. But I agree with you.
I'm just saying, like, when you lose 2 players, I think it exposes weaknesses in your team.
Yes.
And it's good to see them now so you can do something to address the need.
Yep.
Instead of later.
True. But the I guess my challenge is it's always, and especially with a team, and I'd be interested to get your angle on this too, is that in a team that plays a system, right? Like, and you always hear about the Jets, they're a real family-oriented team. They care about it, which is important, especially in a small market team. They really They all go to the wall for each other. You can see how guys knock down pucks with their ankles and shins when they're killing penalties. They're down on the ice blocking shots and doing whatever they have to take to win games. Fantastic. But my only concern is and history is kind of history is always an indicator of what's going to happen in the future. You can look at what the Jets have done in the past. They brought in Paul Stastny twice. The first time, he fit right in because that's the kind of player Paul Stastny is. As he got older, he was smart defensively. He could fit right into whatever system. He played with Ehlers and whoever was on the other line there, made a really good second line and really fit into the mix and part of the gel of the team. Then you bring in a guy the following year, Kevin Hayes. Now, again, no slack to Kevin Hayes, but he just did not fit the style of game that the Jets played at that time. They were a skating team, fast, forechecking. Kevin Hayes is a plotter. He's a grinder, dump it in, chase it, bang pucks, bang him in front, bang him in the net. Just how the Flyers play and how he played with the Blues now. So I'm just saying, sometimes you bring in a guy, and then is he going to fit into the culture of your team? Is he right away going to buy in? Look how long it took the Jets to buy into the Scott Arniel, Rick Bowness culture. Excuse me. It's now like a year or a year and a half, right, before we're finally seeing something. That first year they were in it, and then they walked away from it halfway through the season. So I'm just saying, now you bring somebody new in, you bring Sean Monahan or Elias Lindholm. I hope the Jets do their, whatever you want to call that, their investigation, their due diligence, whatever, to find out whoever they bring in has to be a guy that puts team first and can be committed to playing the way that Rick Bowness and Scott Arniel want him to play in the system. Because if you have one guy, you bring him in and he just wants to do his own thing and he doesn't commit and he doesn't buy in, what's the point of bringing him in? You might as well go with the guys that are here.
Right.
So, but anyway.
The Lions tonight, Namestnikov centering Connor and Ehlers.
Yeah.
Toninato centering Perfetti and Iafallo. Lowry centering Niederreiter and Appleton. Kapari centering Barron and Asseljansen PLB.
Okay. See that whole putting Toninato as a second line center. Like, you tell me Adam Lowry's not a first line center. Tenorti is not a second line center. Okay. He's not even, I wouldn't even argue that he's a third line center. So now, but again,
I think that just reinforces my opinion, but we need a center in here.
We need another able body, like potential top six forward to play. He could play lower in the lineup if he has to, but then move up in situations like this.
Yeah,
I agree. The only thing is, it's kind of an interesting mix of Perfetti with Toninato and Iafallo, because both Iafallo and Toninato, they are really good in the corners. They're really good at churning pucks out, coughing pucks up, good on the forecheck. And Perfetti is really shifty. So if they can find ways to get him the puck in the slot, that might be a good combination. We'll have to see. But yeah,
the defense pairs Morrissey, DeMello, Dylan, Peon, Schmidt, Sandberg hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed in a long time. It's been a long time since I think the last time when the Jets had Logan Stanley was in the lineup was when they addressed 7 defensemen that one time, I think.
Yeah, when they had 7 defensemen and 11 forwards. So
yeah. So, but anyway.
Yeah, and then the goalie today is Laurent Brossoit.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Yep. So he's going to do a lot probably, and then I would expect to see Connor Hellebuyck on Saturday against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Going into the break and all that cool stuff. Let's talk about the news of the day in the NHL. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I feel like we'd be doing a disservice to not talk about it. There are 5 members of Canada's 2008 World Junior Team that are now under reported questioning for a sexual assault that happened at a Hockey Canada event in the spring of 2018.
2018 or 2008? You said? Did you say 2008?
2018.
Pardon?
2018.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
And those players have now come out in the public domain, reportedly because they have all taken a leave of absences from their NHL or their respective European teams. Out of respect for the situation, I won't mention the players.
Why not?
Pardon?
Why not?
Well, I can mention the players.
If they've been made public, let's make them public. That's why people want
to. It has been made public.
Okay, who are the 5 dudes?
Alex Formenton, Carter Hart, Dylan Dubé, here I'm forgetting the last 2.
Yes, I saw both Dylan Dubé and Carter Hart taking leave of absences from their teams for their mental health.
Keeping in mind, they have not been formally charged yet.
No, that's fine.
They have not been formally charged yet, these individuals. They are just reportedly part of this investigation.
Did you not look up who the other 2 dudes are? I mean, I can look it
hang
up
on one second here.
I can look it up. I got it right here. Because that Formenton, I think he was one that
Formenton was he
played in the NHL before, but I think now he's playing in Europe, right?
He's in Europe. He's give me a second here. Oh, sorry about this. I'm having issues with my information to pull up here. Give me one second here. Okay, sorry. It's Michael McLeod of the New Jersey Devils and Cal Foote of the New Jersey Devils are the other 2.
Cal Foote, son of Adam Foote, the former NHLer.
Correct, yeah. And
it's amazing. I've read through 3 articles here so far on TSN, and they haven't mentioned the players at all.
Yeah, they don't. You can kind of put 2 and 2 together in that report. And now I'm just reading here in the last 2
McLeod
hours.
And Foote. Yeah, McLeod and Foote were granted indefinite leaves of absences as well. Yeah.
I'm also reading here from the London, Ontario Police Department, a statement here as of 2 hours ago. Yeah. We understand there is significant public interest in relation to a sexual assault investigation dating back to 2018. We are unable to provide an update at this time. We anticipate that London Police Service will hold a press conference on Monday, February 5th to share further details. Location and timing of the press conference will be shared once details are confirmed.
Yep.
So this is coming down. A very, very sad situation.
Well, is it sad? Is it wait a second. Is it sad? Sad is what happened 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And I wouldn't even say it's sad, it's criminal.
Yeah,
if it's true. I shouldn't say I know. There's a saying in German that we know about: from nothing comes nothing, right?
Yeah.
And where there's smoke, there's fire. So I'm saying, like, they don't go through all the investigating for the last, however this has been, this one person's been I think it's I forget her name, but she's been investigating this thing for like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm sorry. Her name just escapes me at the moment. But anyway, she's been investigating this thing, and they had how many players in that team? 20, 22. And there was, all we heard was that, it's somebody from the 2018 team. She interviewed people. She interviewed all the players. She heard the stories. The guys that weren't involved could confirm that they weren't involved and who was not where they were supposed to be and at the bar And then in that hotel room with that girl when she was intoxicated and maybe something was put in her drink. Who knows what happened? But long story short, they don't put names out here, or they don't go through this whole process and say, now we got 5 people that are taking leave of absences and criminal charges, assault 2.
Right around the same time.
Right around the same time. And they don't put that out there unless there's something there, because otherwise they would keep it all hush hush. Once they announce it, there's something there.
Yeah.
And it's when I remember reading this already like a year or 2 ago, whenever this all came out. That was Rick Westhead on TSN wrote the whole thing in the interview that he had with that young woman. Well, now she's an older, well, now she's a young, she still is, but now she's in her mid-20s. Back then she was 18 or 19, whatever it was. And what she alleges happened and what was done to her, and not just what was done to her, what was videotaped, what was shared. Michael, it is so awful. If it's true, then there's nothing sad about it. It's criminal. You feel bad for that woman that she has to go through all of this. But these guys, like, what kind of a moral compass?
Just sad because
what kind of a moral compass does an 18 and 19-year-old guy have to do that?
Yeah.
And everything that's alleged in that thing. Michael, you and I were 18 once, and we said and did foolish things. Okay, we did. We rebelled a little bit against our parents and blah, blah, blah. We're teenagers, but what's alleged here, you and I did not do, because we have a moral compass that's a little bit stronger or more in tune than these yo-yos did. And I don't know if this is, and actually what's interesting is when you talk with people, this is actually good we're having this conversation because it's related to hockey. And these are NHLers. The 4 of the 5 of them are actually all played in the NHL, but 4 out of 5 are currently NHL. There is something inherently, and I'll put this out there, there is something inherently wrong with hockey culture. And I don't know what, I played hockey. I didn't go that high up in it. I played until I was 14, 13 years old. And then I started to play high school sports, and I never went any further into, A1 and the AA, AAA, and then junior or major, junior, and junior, and so on. I just never went down that road. But there's something in that culture, and I don't know how it's fomented. I don't know how it's pushed. I don't know how it's developed, but there's something, even though hockey players are great kids, when you hear them interviewed, they're very gracious, very kind, very humble, but something about this, I don't know if it's athletes or whatever, that they feel entitled to do some of the things that they do, this sexual misconduct. It's not just here. I heard this already 20 years ago when I was a young guy about what guys did when they were in their junior days. But back then you didn't have phones and you didn't record stuff like that. It just happened and there was no evidence of it. And so guys just kept their mouth shut. Nobody said anything. The girl she couldn't remember half of what happened because she had too much they all had too much to drink. Maybe she had more than the guys did. But all I'm saying is, what is it about that culture that these young guys think this is okay to do? I don't see this in other cultures. I don't see this in the, whatever you take another, in the volleyball leagues or in the, in the, I don't know what you choose your sport. What is it about junior hockey players that they get this? I don't know what this is, this crossed wires thinking this way. I don't get it. I understand being a young man. I understand having fun. I understand having whatever you want to call it. You have certain urges, needs. You have young man. He's got lots of energy, fine. Right. We're all there. But there's lines that are drawn morally and ethically. You can't commit assault on a young woman like this and think that, it's just normal, and then make videotapes of it. That's the problem. People are going to tape it. People are going to find out about it. You're going to share it with 3 buddies. So one of these guys, one of your friends is going to say, you know what? That's wrong. That could have been my sister. One of them's going to have a sister that's 18 years old. And then he's going to say, that's not right. And he's going to go to the cops with it. And that's now maybe what's finally happening is there's some accountability that's going to happen. And I don't wish bad on these 5 guys, but if they made this mistake, they need to be held accountable for it. So, and I would say it's a mistake.
I agree,
and they need to be held for it. So anyway,
unfortunately, I think it's not just the NHL that's the problem. Sports in general has sports in general has
Okay.
culture issues. It's not just hockey. Yeah, it's a very difficult but yet important conversation.
Yeah.
Um, I just let me clarify what I meant by it's sad.
Okay.
I just from my perspective, it's sad that we hold high end hockey players to account. Um, and it's sad that it's actually come to this um situation from people that you're in the Hockey Canada program and you should know better than to do things like that. And that's why I think it's sad.
But
And
Michael, I'm going to challenge you on that though. I'm glad we're having this conversation because it's important. I know we're
yeah,
half far into the show, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Jets. We'll talk about the Oilers and
yeah.
other things that are going on. But this is important. It's not. Sorry, what was your last point? You just said.
No, I just think it's sad because I think these individuals that are high up and have important jobs should know better.
Okay,
And
okay, but
unfortunately
here,
they
okay,
don't.
okay, but I would challenge you on that. Just because, okay, I'll say it this way.
Yeah.
I get it. You are a role model, even if you don't want to be. You're a professional athlete. You're on TV. You're interviewed after games. You have to conduct yourself in a certain professional way, right? Even when a
Yep.
reporter asks you a stupid question, you have to smile and give a polite answer because because you're a pro, right? It's the
Yep.
same reason why you take care of your body in the summer. You eat right during the year. You get enough rest. You take care of yourself because you're a pro. You act like a pro. I get it. But what this doesn't really matter. It's the camera is shining a light on junior
Yeah.
hockey and the attitude of these 18 to 21-year-old boys. But to me, it really doesn't matter if it's junior hockey players or if it's a whole bunch of guys who work for CN. If it's 8 guys from CN Rail who attack a woman after meeting her in a bar and do to her what these guys did to her, it's still wrong. And they're nobody. I say they're nobodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still wrong. It's wrong to sexually assault women. It's wrong.
Yeah,
And you don't get a privilege or you don't get a pass because you're special or you're a hockey player or whatever. If anything,
absolutely, 100% agree.
But I agree with you more. I think it's even more so we throw more of a book at them, not just or because they're going to be exposed now. Their whole, like, if you're a guy, I shouldn't say that. If you're 5 guys from CN Rail and this happens and you get in trouble, it's reported in the local paper. You'll go to jail. You have to pay a fine. Whatever it is, you're held to account. But it's not at the national media billboard. Boo, boo. Look what these 5 guys did because they work for CN Rail. They're just 5 regular guys. These 5 guys, this is going to, if it's true, it's going to, I'll be careful.
I'll say this.
That's hard to come back from. I don't know that they're ever going to play in the NHL again. I don't know if they're going to be even, this is hard to come back from. And I know it's unfair. And the guys are 25, 26 years old now. They say, why do I have to pay a price for a foolish thing I did when I was 18?
Yeah, I did speak to somebody today just about this whole situation. And it was pointed out to me that let's say nothing did happen and all of this is made up, which is highly, highly unlikely.
Okay, it's not likely, but okay, we'll do the hypothetical. Okay.
They put this caveat kind of in my ear.
Okay.
They said even then it is extremely difficult to come back from.
Right.
Regardless, because your name has been tarnished, your image has been tarnished. Every day, everybody says all these perceptions about you.
Okay, but Michael, I would answer to that person, whoever this person is. I'm sure they, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to take the, the benefit of the doubt scenario and all of that.
Yeah.
That's why all they did at the beginning was said members of the 2018.
No, I agree.
Team, and they didn't name anybody. Now, all those guys, it was like if I was on that 2018 team and I had nothing to do with this, I wouldn't be nervous, but it would hurt a little bit because people come to me, "Hey, Rick, weren't you on that 2018 junior team?"
Yeah,
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 yeah, I was. And you would know because you were innocent that
right.
eventually it would all clear up. So they released that it's a 2018 hockey team investigation, but they're going to get down to the brass taxes. Now they know it's these 5 guys. That's why they're releasing the names. That's why it's been charged. They're going to look at assault charges. The other 18, 20 guys that were on that team, they're going to be fine. There's going to be
Yep.
no tarnished reputation. They're not involved.
At the end of the day, Rick, this person told me that it would be highly unlikely they ever play professional hockey again, regardless what happens.
Well, no, because they're going to be found. Michael, they did it. It's just now them proving it in a court of law. That's why these names are. They know.
Yeah.
If any one of these 5 guys was completely innocent, like the other 18 guys on that team, they were completely innocent. If it was me and I'd been labeled like this and I was 100%, I wasn't there, somebody's making up a story, whatever, I would come out with a press conference and on social media ever and say, I want you all to know, and my mom and dad and my grandma and grandpa, I would never do this. Yeah. This is totally wrong and I will be vindicated. I'm completely innocent. For whatever reason, I've been dragged into this because I was on that hockey team, but I'm not a part of it. That has not been stated by any one of these 5 guys. All that they've done is leave of absence for mental health reasons.
Yeah. Says a lot without saying a lot.
Silence speaks volume. I'm just saying, okay? But I don't want to, I agree with you though. If they're found guilty, even if it's, whatever they find, minor assault or minor sexual assault, blah, 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 whatever, it's a 3-month jail term, they will never play in the NHL again. They'll have to play in Europe, maybe, if the European teams want them. Yeah. But the NHL will never, because can you imagine every place they go, every city, hey, you raped that woman, blah, blah, blah. And a team doesn't want that dragging around them everywhere that player goes. And it's not like they're superstars. Maybe the largest one or the largest name out of the 5 of them is Carter Hart. But I agree with you. It's horrific. It was horrific. But remember, it's not horrific for these 5 guys. It was horrific for that woman. That's who it was horrific for.
No, 100%. And I know of a lot of. I know that at the end of the day, the truth will come out, and we just need to be patient. And it's an extremely difficult day because I know, as somebody that works with female hockey players, this has always been a concern of mine in general. And I hope that there's a change in hockey culture because of this. And I actually think that this might be the tipping point for hockey culture, depending on what happens here.
Yep.
I've long thought that there's a day of reckoning coming, and this might be it. And I hope culture changes for the better, because hockey is a great sport, and it just needs to be done safely and that everybody can enjoy themselves.
Yep. I agree with you. That is a key point. If this helps to change hockey culture in terms of that whole, how young men, how they see women, how they see sexuality, how they act on that, how they use that, make that a part of their life. And if there's some accountability and some realization that it's wrong, and we're not going to do, and there's junior team coaches and PR people who work with these young guys to ensure that they understand what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. Not just even if you make it to the NHL or not, or make it to the European leagues, just as a human being, what's appropriate. Michael, I'm going to leave this with you because you might be shocked by this, whatever. I have friends my age, their kids went through junior hockey. And this is just one example of this culture that it's so twisted.
Yeah.
The coach of how old were the kids? The boys would have been 14, 15 years old. So I don't know what
makes sense. Yeah.
Grade 8 and 9, grade 9 and 10. I'm saying roughly in that age. So they were on, and they were on whatever that level was where they had to get on a team bus and go different places to play games, whatever, not with
Yeah.
the parents, whatever. But anyway, the coach, one of the coaches, I'm not sure it was the assistant coach, I think, but one of the coaches in the team had pornography on his computer and was sharing it with the players that played on his team. So you can imagine, I'm just saying, I don't know what the guy's age is, 30, 35, 40, whatever. He is showing pornography to junior hockey players on his team that are 14 and 15 years old. I mean, think about, first of all, how morally and ethically corrupt that is, number one.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, it's probably criminally wrong because that's sexual delinquency of a minor or, whatever. As a parent, can you imagine you and I having sons on that team and we find out that it just blows your mind. And the fact that he does it, not in secret, this is on the team bus with the players all around. Like you say, it's part of the culture. It's part of that hockey culture that the coach thinks, because he probably, when he was that age, one of his coaches did the same thing for him. You know what I'm saying? And that's that culture that's just been perpetuated. And that's just one example. And I'm just thinking there's something wrong, and there's something, whatever, with hockey and with that culture, it's just wrong. And I'm not getting on to thing about, is pornography good or bad? I have my opinion on that morally and ethically, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the sexual delinquency of a minor as a criminal act. You being an adult and doing that to somebody else's children. If you did that, if I did that as a school teacher and brought a computer into the school and took one of the students and did that, I would lose my job. But yet a hockey coach does that on a team bus going to a team game with a bunch of 15-year-olds that are all laughing and joking and enjoying it and watching it together. That hockey culture. That's what there's an example right there. So anyway, that's but anyway,
it's something that has to be dealt with.
Yep, I agree.
And I sincerely hope that this might be a turning point.
I hope so. I hope it changes. And you know what? They may not like it. They may have to do it screaming and kicking all the way. But you know what? It's going to happen, because now with the modern age, if Hockey Canada pushes down on it to all the junior leagues and everyone else, and to minor hockey and to community clubs, it's going to permeate, just like hitting from behind. Remember how hitting from behind, it was, and then they put, the red sign sticker on the back.
Yeah, the stop sign.
National thing. And now hitting from behind, people still do it, but it's largely gone out of the game because it came down from Hockey Canada,
even
junior hockey.
Even fighting is largely down in general from what it was 10 years ago.
Yep. This has been a good discussion. I'm glad we talked about this, because this is important. It really is important. And I agree with you. If it changes the culture and makes the culture just more normal, I'm not saying hockey players are still athletes and they're still goofballs and they're 18-year-olds and you can make stupid decisions but not criminally stupid.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference. So anyway, if it changes for the better, I'm happy to hear it. I just feel horrible that this woman had to go through the ringer and then have the courage to have to expose this all and put herself through it. I hope she's one day seen as being not a problem, but as a hero for changing it and for calling out things that should never have happened. So I'm glad for it.
Yeah. It's not an easy thought to have, but I think one that's long overdue.
I agree.
We got
10 minutes left after all of that.
Yeah, I don't even know how you transition from something like that.
Well, I know.
But what are we thinking about this Toronto Maple Leafs Winnipeg Jets home and home here?
It'll be good. Actually, it's kind of interesting because the Jets, well, I'll share my take and then you can kind of respond to it. I think the Jets are kind of a little bit, they were going on that run, right? They were kind of all good and everything was good, even though they had they were missing Connor and they were missing Velarde and then they were missing Scheifele. Now they've kind of rolled along throughout all of it. Now they're kind of, I'm not sure that they after that loss to the Bruins, are they going to bounce back and really be great again in their system against the Leafs? because you're going to have to be. You can't run and gun with the Leafs. I mean, the Leafs have lots of firepower. If you're going to play that up and down chances scoring, Matthews and Marner and Nylander will kill the Jets. So that's not even a question. The Jets got to play their system. But are they going to play their system? How well are they going to play it with all the changes to the lineup? I'm glad Lowry's back on the third line. I'm glad Nemestikov is on the first line. Hopefully, Toninato can do something on the second line with Perfetti and Iafallo. But then on the Leafs side, the Leafs have really had a tough time lately.
Can I just
they win, they lose. They don't play any defense. Sheldon Keefe is just beside himself. He can't get them to commit to anything. They go up 3 goals. Yeah. Any other team that was up 3-0 in the first period, you could ride that out. If it was Boston, the Jets, most teams can ride. The Leafs, that's not a secure lead at all. 3-0 in the first period. Like it was with Edmonton, like it was with so many teams that Vancouver they lost to. So I think the Leafs have to figure out how to play as a team to still be able to score, but keep enough pucks out of the net that they can win games. And I don't know if they know how to do that. That's I just have not seen.
I just slided in some unrelated breaking news, which is kind of interesting.
Well, you just answered. Okay, well, can you hang on that? I want you to respond to my point about Jets Leafs.
I think the Leafs and Oilers are in a completely different spectrum right now.
The Leafs and Oilers, or Leafs and Jets, you mean?
No, the Leafs and the Oilers.
Oh, okay.
The Oilers have a streak of 9 or 10 games of 2 goals allowed or less.
Yeah.
But the Leafs just lost their last game to Vancouver 6-4. I think, to be honest, the Jets are going to expose the Leafs in these next 2 games about playing team defense, and I honestly feel the Jets are going to win these next 2 games.
Okay, I could agree with that. Especially, I think the Leafs were up 3-0 against Vancouver, right? And they lost 6-4.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was. But anyway, here's the only thing is that power play stinks. They've got to score a power play goal against the Leafs, 1 in each game. I don't care if they get 20 chances or they get 2. Yeah. They got to score, and their penalty killing has to be top notch, because they could play the Leafs really honest 5-on-5, even be up 1 goal in each game on the 5-on-5 time. But the problem is, if you let the Leafs get 6 or 7 penalty or power plays, they could score 3 or 4 power play goals, and you could lose the game 4-2 or 3-1 because the Leafs score all their goals with the man advantage. So their penalty killing has to be more consistent, and they've got to score a goal on the power play. Please score. Nobody there wants to shoot. Nobody wants to shoot on the Jets team. I don't know. Nobody can shoot, or nobody wants to shoot. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, so what's the breaking news?
The LA Chargers have hired Jim Harbaugh as their head coach.
Okay.
Harbaugh leaves Michigan to become the next coach of the LA Chargers in a contract that is supposed to be very lucrative.
Right, because they just fired their head coach there. I wonder, are they going to hang on to their offensive coordinator, the guy that came from Dallas?
Tell me more. Remains to be seen.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But I think Michigan had their next head coach and waiting the guy that replaced Jim Harbaugh for those games that he was suspended did a pretty good job. What they about NCAA, they always have an next coach in waiting standing by.
Of course they do. It's usually an assistant there. They're always having to groom, right? And having to have the next guy in line. But anyway, we got about, what do we got left here? How many minutes?
6
minutes. Okay, we should talk hockey, not football. I mean, I love football.
No, I just thought it was interesting because I am a Michigan fan.
Oh, okay. So you think the Jets, if they go back to playing that style, their team style, the way they should, and play it consistently, and now with Lowry back in the third line, it'll be a little bit more consistency across that line, which is a huge that's a huge part of their success is that third line playing against the other team's top line.
Yeah, I
At
would
home,
expect.
not so much on the road.
I would expect that third line to get a lot of Matthews and Marner today.
You think even on the road, because they won't have last change, that'll happen more so at home.
I don't know. I think any Jets line to play against anybody's best.
Okay.
I just would expect Toronto to try to play a 6-4, 7-5 type of game, and the Jets won't allow that to happen.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if they're able to play defensively well, and the Brossoit is sharp, and they're able to kill penalties. We'll see. But okay.
The Jets have also a note on the penalty kill rate. The Jets have also killed off in their last 9 games 21 of the last 22 penalties.
Yeah.
In the last 9 games. So it's interesting, and how you that to me is a bit of a kryptonite with the Jets. Like if I was to have a concern going into the playoffs, where the power plays specifically go down in each game, to me you have to have that 1 or 2 power plays a game, and you have to get that 1 goal a game to kind of lift your team up above the rest. I mean, no concerns for me. 34 games with 3 goals allowed or more ended against Boston.
Yeah.
I like this team's defensive game at 5-on-5.
They're one of the best in the league.
And that, to me, I think will go a long way in the playoffs, for sure. But you have to be able to score on your power plays in the playoffs.
So what are the Oilers doing to win the 12 in a row, 14 in a row?
They're playing very well. They won 14 in a row now.
Okay, what are they doing? It's the same guys that were there with the Woodcroft when they were sinking.
They're playing defensively sound in a way we haven't seen them play in many years.
But you know what's interesting? They liked Woodcroft. They liked playing for Woodcroft. In fact, you heard to a man, especially Draisaitl and McDavid, they were stunned that they fired Woodcroft and were actually visibly hurt, shocked, until they hired McDavid's former junior coach, who had a relationship. But
Knoblauch.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, to me, it's actually really surprising on one side. But you know what it tells me? I know we only got a few minutes, but maybe this is another example of the team like the Jets. Last year, they were terrible in the second half of the season and into the playoffs. It's the same guys. I mean, okay, Dubois and Wheeler are gone. Yeah. It's the same coaches, but they bought into the system. They're playing the system. They're not cheating it. And every one of the guys, everyone that's on the ice, 100% believes in that system. Same thing with the Oilers. You could go from being a not good team to be, and it just shows you the Jets, the Oilers. You could argue even the Bruins when they play. Sometimes they don't have a great superstar lineup. They got good players, but it just shows you if a team is committed to playing a certain way, you can win a lot of hockey games. Hey, a system. A system works.
I mean, look at the Jets.
That's what I'm saying. The Jets, the Oilers, even mid-season. For the Jets, it's been since the beginning of the year. But look at the Oilers. They change a coach, it's the same guys. I mean, now they say, okay, McDavid and Ekholm. I heard somebody saying, oh, McDavid and Ekholm are healthy now. They weren't healthy before. Okay. The Jets haven't been healthy the whole time, and they've had injuries here and there. But it doesn't matter. Whoever's on the ice is committed to playing that way. When you all commit to that, you can win a lot of hockey games. That style, whatever that is. And you can see the Oilers midstream in a season, the Jets since the beginning of the year. You can say the same thing for the Bruins. You can say the same thing for Vancouver. They struggled those first 2 or 3 weeks until Rick Tocchet called them out. It said, there's no effort. The only guy that played with any heart was the goalie. I remember we talked about that before. Since that time, Vancouver has just been on a tear. It's just shocking to me, but whatever. It's the system. You believe in it. Everybody commits to it. You got something, and you stay healthy. But So, what do you think the Jets are going to do this week? Now they only have a pair of games before the break. So they got home and away Toronto. I think they're going to go 1-1. I think they're going to
Yeah,
win
I
at
bet
home.
they lose tonight, but win on Saturday.
Yep. I think so. And that's regardless of Scheifele and Velarde are back, which I don't think they will be on Saturday either. I would agree with you. Yeah.
I just wanted to take this minute to show some breaking news. That is that Game Time TV will produce all of the Eastman Select games at this weekend's Female World Sports School Challenge at Bell MTS Ice Plus now, formerly Bell MTS Ice Plus, now the Hockey for All Center. Our coverage begins tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time when they take on. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. I'm still working through the process. It is the Vancouver Island Seals that they'll play tomorrow at 1 p.m. On Friday at 10:30 in the morning, they will take on the Lloydminster PNW Steelers and then the St. Mary's Academy Flames Friday night. They'll also have a game on Saturday, which will be at a time to be determined depending on how they do Thursday and Friday. So we're super excited about that. Stay tuned for that. That's just coming down the pipe right now. I just got a text message with a thumbs up. So that'll be good. They'll be live on GameTimeTV.ca. Subscribers have access to it as always right now. Single game options are the usual $20. And enjoy the hockey. It's gonna be a great weekend of hockey. I'm heading down there myself tomorrow. Remind me I talked to you about that before we sign off, because I know you and I have plans tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I will talk about that before I let you go. All right, speaking of it, everybody, we will be back next Monday. Rhett, I am thinking about not having a show the week after because we do not have a Jets game to talk about, and there's very little hockey that week with so many teams on the player break and the All-Star break kind of jammed in there.
So you want to have a show, though, next week because we can chat about the two Jet games?
2 games and then take a week off and then come back.
Sounds good.
Because the Jets come back on the 6th. Yeah, so that would just be that Philadelphia game. And
it's all good.
Okay, well, we'll do that, and then we will talk about everything else. Thank you for bearing with us today. We had a really tough conversation today. But
it was important. Sometimes the tough conversations are the most important conversations.
Yep, 100% agree. Thank you so much for watching the Ultimate Hockey Show. We'll be back next week on Monday. Yeah, that's cool. Once I did through this weekend, I did pretty much a week of quiet, which will be well deserved on my part. Also, if you want some breaking news as well, the Can't Play Hockey Classic, Rich, in support of the Children's Rehabilitation Foundation, just got the number sent to me, has raised in and around $12,000 this year. So congrats to everybody. Thanks to everybody for helping out. Your support of the event, much appreciated as well. So for Rick Petty, Michael John saying good night. We'll see you next week. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next week for more of the Ultimate Hockey Show here on the Game Time TV YouTube channel. Good night, everybody.